helping Canada move forward. And your local Petro-Canada dealers and agents, putting Canada first. Now for all the action, let's join our CBC Sports crew.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Brian Williams. Welcome to CFL 84. Good matchup today. The Eskimos and the Blue Bombers from Winnipeg. Winnipeg chasing the BC Lions after BC won last night in Calgary. Edmonton has wrapped up third place. In the East this afternoon, Toronto has won. It should be 19 points. We haven't added it. Montreal has lost to Toronto, so the Concorde still tied with Hamilton for second place in the Eastern Conference. Right now from Winnipeg, here is Don Whitman.
Thanks, Brian. It's a cool, wet afternoon here at Winnipeg Stadium, a temperature of +2 degrees. And before the game is over, we could see some snow flurry activity. There are some people who are suggesting this Edmonton-Winnipeg matchup might be a playoff preview. And indeed, these two teams might meet again here at Winnipeg Stadium in the Western semifinal on the 4th of November. But the Bombers still have designs on a first-place finish in the West. Leo, they're involved in quite a battle with the BC Lions.
And what a great football team there are. You know, there's teams in this league with good offensive lines. There's also teams with good defensive lines. There are teams with good secondaries and good receivers. However, few have all of this plus two capable starting quarterbacks. Winnipeg has. Tommy Clements can do it all. Run, pass, and lead. And John Hufnagel, he's a reliever who's not far behind. Probably a better drop-back passer than Clements. Both can win, and that's what's important. And when you add Willard Reeves, the best runner in the league, to this combination, they've got a team that's pretty difficult to beat come playoff time. Ron, what about Edmonton?
Well, the big thing with Edmonton, Leo, is Matt Dunnigan, who's been the story of the Eskimos all year, is going to miss today's game because of an ankle injury. This means Johnny Evans, who's getting his second start, hasn't played much, but he gets the opportunity to play. I believe because of the field, we'll see more of the running game. Larry Cowan and Neil Lumsden. Cowan may be the most underrated back in the league, third in the league in rushing with over 700 yards. And then you got Neil Lumsden, who it seems every year gets better the later the season goes. Sloppy field, Lumsden at 225 pounds. He could be the key to the ball game today, Don. I think it's going to be a good one.
Well, two teams that have had a great rivalry over the years are about set to kick it off. We'll return to Winnipeg Stadium, but first, let's go to CFL Control, and here's Brian Williams.
All right, thank you, Don. Coming up at halftime, Barbara McLeod will have a profile with Edmonton's Norm Kimball. I'll have highlights from the games last night. We'll hear from George Brancato, who could be out of a job, and Harold Ballard, and highlights from Toronto's win today over Montreal. The opening kickoff up next as CFL 84 continues.
Again, everybody, Don Whitman along with Leo Cahill and Ron Lancaster at Winnipeg Stadium as the Blue Bombers are preparing to kick off to the Edmonton Eskimos. The referee this afternoon is Lorne Woods, and the deep men for the Edmonton Eskimos, Milson Jones, number 34, and number 74, Chris Woods. The Edmonton Eskimos with third place already wrapped up. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers in that battle with the British Columbia Lions for first place. And the Western Conference pennant will ultimately be decided next Saturday night in Vancouver, regardless of the outcome this afternoon. Now it's Chris Woods on the kickoff return. He has great speed, and he is upset at the 28. He fumbled the football, but the Edmonton Eskimos managed to recover.
Well, Johnny Evans, as we said, gets a chance to start today. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do in these weather conditions, but it's not as bad as it was in Edmonton. So the Eskimo offense is ready to go.
John Evans, the starting quarterback, in place of the injured Matt Dunnigan. Evans pitches it out to Cowan. Cowan is being chased back and dropped for a loss. Back at the 15-yard line, John Sturdivant was the man with help from Aaron Brown, who forced the Edmonton running back deep into his own backfield.
This is just an option play. The quarterback comes down the line, gets threatened a little bit, pitches, but the Winnipeg defense are too far in there. His only hope was to just run out of bounds because he's going to lose yardage. There was all kind of blue jerseys waiting on him.
Boy, it's difficult to run an option against that linebacking core that they have.
Aaron Brown, number 52, the Winnipeg nominee for a Shenley Award, is the outstanding defensive player in the country. The draw play with Neil Lumsden, and Lumsden on Second and 22, gets out across the 25 to the 27-yard line, and Aaron Brown was there again to make the tackle. So the Edmonton Eskimos on their first offensive series lose yards, and they are forced now into a punting situation. Snow flurries falling on Winnipeg Stadium, the temperature +2 degrees. It has been raining very heavily in Winnipeg for the past 3 days. So the turf here at Winnipeg Stadium is extremely soggy. Footing will not be good.
And Johnny Evans is doing the punting here this afternoon along with playing quarterback. We'll see if it has any effect on the way he kicks.
Kevin Nealous on the attempted punt return. Nowhere to go as he is wrapped up at the 50-yard line by David Shadrack. Winnipeg quarterback Tom Clements, who is having an outstanding season, completing some 63% of his passes. Throughout the year, Coach Cal Murphy has removed Clements from many ball games in the second half and inserted John Hufnagel into the quarterbacking position. Willard Reeves, who is looking for his 8th consecutive 100-yard game rushing, out of bounds with a pickup of about 15. James Murphy, the wide receiver on the right side, got out in front of Reeves to throw a key block, enabling him to turn that corner.
I think all the players on the Winnipeg team really are pulling for Reeves to get his 1,800 yards, and they're just putting a little bit more into that effort to make that block and spring him loose.
That was just a good job of running by Reeves. The big problem there was the new defensive back for the Eskimos, number 7, Dale Thompson. He's got to be the support man to the outside, and he never got up there. And as a result, Reeves, with his speed, got outside.
The Eskimos make a substitution. Dan Kearns goes to the bench, and John Mandarich comes in. They go inside with Willard Reeves, and he struggles for 6. He fumbles the football, but I believe the play has been whistled down. So Willard Reeves on back-to-back carries has 21 yards in his quest for an 8th consecutive 100-yard rushing game.
This is a good play by Winnipeg. Tommy sprints right and left so often, and sprinting to his left will get those defensive linemen going that direction. Then a hand back to Reeves. He's able to hit one of those seams and take it all the way.
Second and 4 Winnipeg. The ball is at the 39 of the Edmonton Eskimos. No score in the football game. Play just underway here in the opening quarter. Pass is incomplete. The intended receiver, Joe Poplawski, slipped, and the defensive back also went down as Joe Holloman was attempting the interception. So that footing is going to cause some problems today.
I was going to say that, Don. We're going to see a lot of that out there this afternoon. That was the case right there when the offensive receiver slipped so he couldn't catch the ball. And add insult to injury, the poor defensive back, who was in perfect position to make the interception, slip too.
Well, field conditions will be improved, whether it's for the Western semifinal or the Western final, as a new tarpaulin is due to arrive early next week here in Winnipeg to cover the playing field. Field goal attempt by Trevor Kennard. It's wide. And in the end zone, the Edmonton Eskimos concede the single point. So it's a 1-0 ball game. Winnipeg Blue Bombers in front with 11:33 remaining in the opening quarter.
Into Miller time.
So with that missed field goal by Winnipeg's Trevor Kennard, the Eskimos take over at the line of the last scrimmage, which is the 39. Pretty good field position for the Edmonton Eskimos.
We ought to point out, Don, that if there is an advantage that's with the offense, they at least know where they're going on their pass patterns. The defense has got to play it pretty soft to make sure they don't slip.
Neil Lumpton bashes his way for a gain of 4. It will be 2nd and 6 for Edmonton. Delbert Fowler came over to make the tackle. Winnipeg defensively has Brent Reset at nose guard, Tony Norman and John Sturdivant at the defensive end positions, Delbert Fowler, Aaron Brown, Frank Robinson, and Tyrone Jones as the linebackers, Shaw, Turner, Flagel, Haley, and Rose the defensive backs. Johnny Evans throwing that sideline pattern. He's looking for Brian Kelly. It's incomplete. And the Eskimos are again in a punting situation. I would think, Ron, with the field as wet as it is, it's going to be very difficult for many of those receivers to make their cuts as they want to.
Well, you're exactly right. Looking at Brian Kelly, he really didn't run a pattern. He just went out there and stood. And as Cal Murphy told us, they were going to play a lot of zone. He let it clear out, and Evans couldn't get him the ball.
And the reason they're playing a lot of zone is because they don't want to man up in case if the man gets isolated and slips and falls, and it's a touchdown for the offense.
Right, make them earn it.
Third down kick by Johnny Evans. Fielded by Kevin Nealis, and a penalty flag on the play as Nealis is brought down at the 32-yard line. Nealis, a rookie out of the University of Manitoba, and he plays mainly on special teams. He has great speed. The no yards infraction, as indicated by referee Lauren Woods, against the Edmonton Eskimos. 10:22 is the time remaining in the first quarter. It's a 1-0 game. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers leading the Edmonton Eskimos.
On a day like today when the field is that
No
wet
yards.
and that slippery,
Edmonton 59, first down.
it is a real handicap for the defense, and the offense now. Field position is so important. The offense now, Winnipeg, I should say, are right near midfield. The advantage is definitely with the offensive unit when they've got that kind of field position.
In a couple of hours' time, there are going to be very few clean uniforms out in that playing field. If there are, the coaches might be asking why. The pass complete to Sean Kehoe for a pickup of 4. He was brought down by linebacker Danny Bass.
It looked for a moment like Tommy wasn't too sure about the path that he was taking. He ran a bootleg, but it looked like he wanted to fake the ball to Reeves. There's Johnny Evans on the phone trying to get help from upstairs from the scouts.
Second and 6, Winnipeg. The ball is at the 49. Clemens to the sidelines, incomplete. He was looking for Joe Poposky. So Tom Clemens, who in his 2 most recent starts here at Winnipeg Stadium has been hotter than a firecracker, has not had the success in moving the team early as he did in games against both Calgary and Hamilton.
I'll tell you what was nice there. The Eskimos put good pressure on him, not to the point to where he was in any danger of being sacked or knocked around, but they just kept it constant around him and forced him to throw the ball high, and as a result, it went out of bounds.
So it's a punting situation again for Winnipeg as Bob Cameron stands back at the 35-yard line. Joe Holloman is the lone punt return man, and it took too long for Winnipeg to launch that third down punt, so it will be a time count violation against the Blue Bombers.
Ronnie, you noticed the last time that Tommy threw that football, the ball might be a little bit wet, but also when he tried to...
Winnipeg number 6, third down repeated.
Also, when he tried to follow through, he had no traction to throw the ball, and that's a distraction for a quarterback, too. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Chris Woods and Jeff Preflin have moved back for this third down kick by Bob Cameron. Good punt by Cameron. Woods retreats to his own 13-yard line. And he's forced out of bounds at the 14. So that's where the Edmonton Eskimos will scrimmage with 9:04 remaining in this first quarter. That was a 53-yard punt by Bob Cameron that forced the Eskimos back deep into their own territory. They will be first and 10 from their own 13-yard line is where they have positioned the ball.
Ronnie, Johnny Evans hasn't been in there too much this year, and down here I think that he'd play it pretty safe because, you know, that Winnipeg defense is really going to put some pressure on him down here.
Well, they're a tough defense anyway. He better be a little conservative here.
Evans throwing deep down the sidelines, and is the catch made? No. Brian Kelly came up with the ball, but the official ruled that he was out of bounds. He was being covered by Donovan Rose.
I think it's a great play by Kelly just to get the football because really there's nobody open to throw it to. He makes the catch. The referee there rules him out of bounds, but he was really covered pretty well. Evans would have had to throw that another 15, 20 yards, and I don't think you can throw a heavy ball when it gets wet like this that far, so it makes it a problem.
Well, earlier in the year, it looked as though Brian Kelly was going to shatter the single-season record for most touchdown receptions. He may still break the old mark of 17. He has 16, but last night Mervyn Fernandez caught his 17. The pass is deflected into the arms of Tag Rome. And they're ruling that he was able to stay in bounds up at the 42-yard line.
Well, you see, excellent play. The ball bounces, and the new receiver, Tag Rome, just joined the Eskimos from the San Diego Chargers. And they feel that he's going to give them great speed inside. They know they have Woods outside, but they needed help in there where a guy like Rome may be able to go to get the ball. They really think he can catch the ball well. That's the scouting report on him.
It might be one of those days for Johnny Evans. Those last two passes, both should have been intercepted.
Well, the Eskimos asking for a clean football on a first down play from the 42-yard line. They'll have to get this one underway quickly. There were only 4 seconds showing when he asked for that dry ball. Neil Lumsden barges straight ahead for about 3 yards. Stopped there by John Sturdivant. You can see that Lumsden's done some work already. His uniform very dirty. The numbers on his back already obliterated by the mud.
You get into this kind of field, this is a big fullback, a big, heavy guy that can run hard straight ahead. This is his kind of field.
Well, you always say, Ron, that Neil Lumsden seems to get better as playoff time approaches. Pass is complete for a first down to Brian Kelly at the midfield stripe. Stopped by Donovan Rose.
I think Johnny Evans would be smart to go with those short passes because Winnipeg is playing a lot of zone, and he can get into those zones and work his curls and his sideline patterns. He doesn't have a strong arm for going deep. There you see Brian Kelly going down, going into the curl, and he just got enough of it to get that ball in there and catch it, but the defender was right on top of him after he caught it.
Cowan tried to get outside, but Aaron Brown was in pursuit and stopped him right at the line of scrimmage, so it will be 2nd and 10.
This Aaron Brown is something at middle linebacker or inside linebacker. He just seems to have a nose for the ball and able to get through anywhere. That time he came behind. The lineman is still run him down at the sideline.
That's the thing about speed. There's very few guys that could make that kind of penetration because that really is a mistake. He gave himself up. As you see Larry Cowan there on the screen, done an excellent job as a running back for the Edmonton Eskimos. But Brown can make the penetration, overrun something, and still catch it from behind, which is...
Evans fumbled the football in the exchange from center. He was fortunate that he was able to get it back. And Tyrone Jones came scooting in from his linebacking position to make sure that he didn't go anywhere with it. Is that a friend of yours in the crowd this afternoon, Lou?
Somebody I'm trying to forget.
So the Eskimos again in a punting situation.
Well, I think Johnny Evans did a good job of getting them out of the shadow of their goal line and get them in a position where they can kick the ball and get Winnipeg down at their own end.
Kevin Nealon and Sean Kehoe are back for this 3rd down kick by John Evans. Kevin Nealon fields it at the 25-yard line. Ooh, he was hit and driven back by Joe Jenkins in the vicinity of the 28. There's also a penalty flag on the play. We'll sort it out for you when we return to Winnipeg Stadium.
Welcome to Miller time. It's good here. Just hang on. Bring your thirsty self right here. You got the time. We got the beer for what you have in mind. Welcome to Miller time. Yours and mine.
Miller High Life, brewed here, and one of the best beers you can buy. Welcome to Miller time.
On the the punt return by Kevin Nealis. There was a rough play call against Winnipeg's Pat Cantner, and that takes the ball back to the 15-yard line. It will be 1st and 10, Winnipeg from that point. What a job Jackie Parker has done this season with the Edmonton Eskimos. 18 changes on that roster. A lot of people thought he would really have difficulty avoiding the basement in the Western Conference. But he had his team in contention, and they finished in 3rd place, regardless of the outcome this afternoon or in their final game next Sunday against Saskatchewan. Willard Reeves fights his way for a gain of about 3. He is stopped by Tony Anglin. The 3rd carry of the ball game for Willard Reeves. He picked up 15 on his first. Now, Willard Reeves came into this ball game looking for his 8th consecutive 100-yard game rushing. That mark established by Johnny Bright back in 1957. And he also has designs on Willie Burton's CFL rushing record of 1,896 yards set in 1975. Clemens going deep for James Murphy. There's also a penalty flag in the play. Darrell Hall made the tackle at the midfield strike. Making the tackle, guilty of a face mask violation. Let's take another look at that big strike of 35 yards. Clemens to Murphy.
I was beginning to think that Tommy Clemens didn't want to throw the ball deep because of the bad footing, but he got that on the post pattern right in there to Murphy perfectly.
Face mask. Edmonton 24. 1st down.
Well, you can see right there that he had a hold of the face mask too, so that really gives them the edge.
I think had he not grabbed that face mask, Murphy might have escaped from him and gone all the way.
Sure looked like it. He was sliding off of him, and it's not hard to do when those uniforms are wet. You just grab what you can. In that case, it was a face mask.
Get a hold of something you can hang on to.
1st and 10, Winnipeg from the Eskimo 41. Willard Reeves again. Willard Reeves has a pickup of 13 yards.
You see Vestalia come out, makes a cross block, and then Reeves just got a nice seam to run through. And I tell you don't want to give him much room. He doesn't need much room.
Well, look at him dip that shoulder and run right over the defender, too.
Reeves now has 40 yards. He gets the call again. Fumbles the football, and Edmonton has recovered. He was hit by Tom Tuine, and the ball popped away, and the Edmonton Eskimos thwart a Winnipeg scoring drive at the 20-yard line.
Well, you saw Tuine come across him, and when he hit him coming across, the ball popped out. You know, right there's a fumble. Tuine's pretty excited.
When we talked to Coach Cal Murphy about Willard Reeves and whether or not he would let him go for the record, he said, if this game is in hand, I think Willard Reeves will have a rest.
That's a tough situation to be in.
However, they're more concerned about winning football games, and they don't want to take any chances on Willard Reeves being damaged for that big showdown next Saturday against the British Columbia Lions. There's a rookie who has had an outstanding season, Laurent Delorier, the safety of the Edmonton Eskimos, a Shenley nominee. He has 6 interceptions this season. Johnny Evans gets the 1st down as he runs his way out to the 35-yard line. He was cocking that arm as though he was going to throw as he came around that right side, but with all his receivers covered, he did a pretty good job of picking up 1st down yardage, romping 9 yards out to the 35. Robinson was pursuing Johnny Evans, and Evans was very fortunate to get that ball out into the flat to tag room, but the pickup is just 3 yards. It will be 2nd and 7.
Watch Frank Robinson's lined up clear on the inside, but watch, he comes all the way outside, and when he comes out there, nobody touches him. The tackle blocks down, and he has got a free shot, and Evans has to get rid of it in a hurry. But that's tough on a quarterback because it's hard enough throwing that ball when you can get set. He never was able to get his feet set that time.
Frank Robinson back in the lineup after sitting out last week as the Bombers did some juggling of personnel. Belcher coming into the lineup. That meant an import had to be brought. Marco Sincar makes the catch of Johnny Evans' pass for a first down out at the 47. 1:46 is the time remaining in the opening quarter. It's 1-0. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers leading.
Those are guys played real well. Danny Bass came over in that trade early in the season and saw Tom Scott go to Calgary. Bass came to Edmonton, and he's had a pretty good season for the Eskimos.
Indeed he has. And it's a good thing they've had Danny Bass this year with the injuries that Dan Kepley has suffered that have moved him in and out of the lineup. The ball is fumbled, recovered by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Frank Robinson.
Well, this is just a straight dive play. They want to run him straight ahead. But what's right here, Jones comes through here untouched, and it looks like he arrives at the same time the ball carrier does. He jumps inside the blocker. Couldn't really tell who that was. Now, Evans couldn't find the ball, but Frank Robinson found it. That's a good defensive play. You can never let a guy inside you.
If Frank Robinson would have picked up the ball right here and lateral, then it could have been a touchdown.
First and 10 Winnipeg. They are at the 43 of the Eskimos. We're into the final minute of the opening quarter. Pass complete over the middle to Sean Keel. He will pick up about 7 yards. He's stopped by Joe Jenkins. Clements with those 2 stars adorning his helmet, an indication that he twice has been named the Rothman's Player of the Week in the Canadian Football League. Willard Reeves has received that recognition on 3 occasions. Second down, Winnipeg. Clemens throwing complete to Poplawski for a first down. Dale Thompson was there to make the tackle on Poplawski.
If you watch real close, this is what you mean by a zone defense. These guys drop, so Poplawski just comes underneath of him. When he gets back here, he's just too deep. Poplawski comes underneath it. He sees him drop, and he just turns to the outside. Clemens throws him the football. All he wants is the first down. He got it.
And this could be the final play of the opening quarter from the 27. First and 10 Winnipeg. The Blue Bombers lead it 1-0. Clemens throwing into the end zone. It's knocked away by Joe Holloman. It was intended for Jeff Boyd. And that's the final play of the opening quarter. So after 15 minutes on a wet afternoon at Winnipeg Stadium, the Blue Bombers lead the Eskimos 1-0. The first play of the second quarter. Second and 10, Winnipeg. Over the middle, the pass complete to James Murphy. Touchdown!
Tom had a lot of time to throw, Leo.
Yeah, you see James Murphy just go down. Tommy makes a good adjustment here. At the last minute, sees Murphy. He just went right down the seam and looked over his inside shoulder, and Tommy hung it right in there to him perfectly, and he stumbled his way in the end zone for 6.
Point after by Trevor Kennard, and we now have an 8-0 ball game. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers leading the Edmonton Eskimos for James Murphy, his 11th touchdown of the season. 6 receivers in the CFL going over 1,000 yards so far this year. James Murphy is one of them. As a matter of fact, Murphy is second to Mervyn Fernandez of British Columbia in total yardage. As Murphy came into this game with 1,120 yards, and that pass was good for a 27-yard pickup. Talk about Mervyn Fernandez. His two most recent games, what a performance by number 24, Swervin Mervyn. 4 touchdowns against Ottawa a week ago, 3 last night against Calgary. Now 17 for the season, equaling the CFL record that was set by Hugh Campbell in 1966 and equaled by Terry Evanson in 67. 66, Ron, did you throw all 17 to Hugh?
I hope so.
Woods and Milton Jones are back for the Trevor Kennard kickoff. 14:41, the time remaining here in the second quarter. Milton Jones having difficulty fielding that football. It's still loose. And I believe finally Blake Dermott is the man who's pounced on the ball. We had an interesting visit with Cal Murphy prior to the start of the ball game today. As we take another look at the fumble, Jones simply can't find it.
What happened there is Blake Dermott backed up into him, and he probably thought he was going to catch him, and as a result didn't concentrate. They were lucky to get it back. We always have an interesting discussion with Cal. He's fun to talk to.
First and 10. The ball is at the 36. Making the pitch, rolling out the opposite way. He lost it up there. It's complete to Brian Kelly. And Scott Flagel, who had fallen on the play, laying on the ground, was able to reach back and bring down Brian Kelly. But there's a penalty flag in the play that may bring it back. The last time these teams met was August 3rd. Winnipeg defeated Edmonton 22-21. Edmonton led 21-12 after 3 quarters in that game.
Well, we'll get the call here by the official.
Illegal pass. Quarterback over the line of scrimmage. Edmonton number 8. Second down.
Johnny,
That explains it.
yeah, I was going to say, Donnie, he had carte blanche to run with that football, too, and at the last minute, like a good quarterback will do, he looked downfield and saw that he had Kelly all by himself, but didn't notice that he was over the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball, so it was all for nothing.
So it's second and 10. Pass complete to Kelly again, but he is stopped about 4 yards shy of a first down by Frank Robinson. Johnny Evans, who last year was with the Montreal Concord, mainly in a backup capacity this season to Matt Dunnigan.
The guy that put the pressure on this was number 24, Haley. He came in just almost uncovered on that thing from his safety position. And I think Evans saw him at the last moment, just had to get rid of it in a hurry.
Third down punt by Johnny Evans as he stands back at his own 27-yard line.
Whoa, go on, drive! Go on, drive!
The ball bounces to Sean Kehoe. Kehoe is down at the 33 by John Mandarich. So that's where the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, leading by a score of 8-0, will take over first and 10 with 13:31 remaining in the first half. 8-0, the Blue Bombers lead. 13:31 the time remaining in the first half. And it's Winnipeg first and 10. They will be scrimmaging from their own 33-yard line. Poplawski goes wide to the right. Handoff inside to Willard Rays, and he bowls his way out to the 40-yard line. Pickup of close to 7, and he is almost halfway there in his attempts at a 100-yard game.
Watch the block made by this man right here. Mark Morris will pull, and he'll trap when he comes across the scrimmage. This allows the ball carrier to cut inside. That's a good trap block Mark Morris makes. Just hits him straight on, and that opens the hole for him.
On second down, the pass complete for first down yardage to Sean Kehoe. Initially, he escaped the grasp of Tony Anglin and rambled to the midfield stripe. First and 10, Winnipeg.
Hey, you see Tommy going back here. He's getting excellent protection this afternoon on that wet turf from that offensive line. Kehoe just pulls away from the defender right there and gets the extra yardage. And they're at midfield on the move.
For former member of the Edmonton Eskimos. As a matter of fact, he was traded to Winnipeg along with Willard Reed back in July 2nd a year ago. This is Jeff Boyd. He, too, was part of that trade with the Edmonton Eskimos. 3 valuable additions that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers were able to pick up. And Joe Holloman came in to make the tackle on Jeff Boyd.
We're going to see that pattern some more. 31, Rick Houseman right into the middle, wide open. Tom decided to go outside. No problem. That's your read. It takes you out there. He turns, looks for the football. You throw it at him. Either guy was open.
Yeah.
Clemens takes the ones he wants.
I think if he would have thrown the ball to House may have gone along a lot further than that. But Boyd came open on the outside, on the inside, on the curl. And as you said, it was 6 to 1, half dozen the other.
Willard Reed fumbles the football, and it's finally recovered by Chris Waldy. And when Chris Waldy flops in the football, it's a wonder it doesn't deflate.
We going through the locker room today, you know, when we came in to go talk to Cal. He was in there pumping weights. Now, I'll tell you what, he is big.
Look at him right there, Ron. He'd be all right if he had a pair of arms, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Wait till he grows up and matures. They try to blitz. You see the linebackers on the blitz, and they get the hand inside, and that knocks the ball loose. When the ball's slippery like this, it's tough to hold on to. But you got to do it.
6'7", 275 pounds. I think he may be a little heavier than that. I think he's pushing 300.
I call him sir. I don't know.
That was just so easy. Really don't know what happened on the coverage on that. Murphy went down on the outside and just went right into the post area and was wide open.
I'll tell you what happened. Look at the blitz on by the linebackers. That Winnipeg offensive line just blocked him, and he just turned Darryl Hall all around. You'll see no one in the picture but Murphy. The defender got his feet crossed, and he couldn't get back. That's a great play. That offensive line did the job.
He may have slipped even.
12th touchdown of the year for James Murphy. A 34-yard throw by Tom Clemens. Point after by Trevor Kennard. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers now lead 15-0 with 10:47 remaining in the half. And we'll return with the Winnipeg kickoff after this. James Murphy with now a dozen touchdowns on the season.
Well, all we see is the tail end of that play, but Murphy went on the inside, probably put a move on the defensive back, and his feet slipped out from under him because he got so wide open it wasn't even fair.
Kennard kicking deep this time to Milton Jones. He starts out from the 13. Jones trying to get outside. A good return out to the 44-yard line, brought down by Donovan Rose. He's a Winnipeg boy who went to school at the University of North Dakota, had an outstanding collegiate career, then was traded a year ago to the Edmonton Eskimos, and Jackie Parker was high in his praise of the job Milton Jones has done.
Sure was. The only problem Wilson has, he gets a little careless on those kickoffs. He just doesn't concentrate, and he drops them. But Jackie Parker thinks he's done a great job for him this year. And hey, with the job Parker's done, no one can argue.
That was a run back of 29 yards. The pass knocked down at the line of scrimmage and right into the arms of an Edmonton player, I believe.
Neil Lumsden.
Neil Lumsden, who managed to grab the ball, but it had been deflected by Stan McCallis.
He may be lucky here because the receivers were covered. He gets blocked. Watch it come off the back of an Eskimo, and Neil Lumsden catches it. Turns it into about a 4-yard gain. Takes a lot of practice now.
Was Bill Stevenson drawing assist in that? It was his back, I believe, that it came on.
He probably didn't even feel it. He didn't even know it touched him.
2nd and 6. Over the middle, the pass complete for first down yardage. And it is Larry Cowan inside the Winnipeg 50, brought down there by Tyrone Jones.
Well, Larry Cowan, I said in the opening, he was a little bit underrated. You know, he's got 750 yards, but he's got 53 passes also. He's had a good year for the Eskimos.
Indeed he has. He's the second leading pass receiver on the Eskimos. Ryan Kelly coming into the game led with 57 receptions, Cowan with 53. Neil Lumsden battling his way close to the 45-yard line. Then he is thrown back. It will be a pickup of 3, maybe 4 yards.
Away from the red draw?
Well, just give it 30, look. There's Bass right there.
Okay.
Bass
John
goes away.
Gregory, the assistant coach at the Winnipeg bench, explaining to his offensive lineman what he wants them to do the next time they get the ball. And then you get the arm of Chris Waldy almost obliterating the camera.
We got the strip right there.
Anytime you see a coach on the sidelines like this explaining something to his offensive line, it's some unorthodox thing that the defense is doing that they haven't worked on too much. And he's giving them some last-minute instructions on just what adjustment to make.
Neil lumps in again, and when he gets up a full head of steam, he's a tough man to bring down. He is inside the Winnipeg 30-yard line, stopped finally by Wiley Turner.
Well, Ron, it makes you look a little bit prophetic right here. As Neil gets the ball right here, you said before the show started that he might have a vital part in this ball game, and he certainly is. You see Pache, number 63, go in there and get a brush block, and Neil gets a good first down on it.
Neil, this is Neil's weather. You know, he plays well in the mud, and you know, in the last 5 or 6 years when they were in the Western Finals every year, he had big games later in those playoff games, in those late games that were important. Neil's a game player.
Yeah, his advantage of the football team over the years has been Edmonton, when they had to sustain the ball, they could give it to him.
Pass is knocked away over on the far side of the field. Intended for Chris Woods. He made the catch, but he was out of bounds.
There's Jackie Parker, the old Mississippi gambler, Mississippi State.
Began his career in the CFL way back in 1954. So he's been associated with the game in Canada now for 30 years.
There's John Bonk, the center for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
In his 12th year in the CFL.
And a Shenley nominee.
Evans looking into the end zone for Kelly. Incomplete. He was bumping as he raced into the end zone with Donovan Rose. So it's now 3rd and 10, Edmonton.
That was excellent defense by Donovan Rose. He just turned and ran with them, and as you say, they were bumping a little bit. Kelly never had a chance. That's good coverage.
Thing you got to worry about with Kelly is he'll lull you to sleep. He'll go down there with that half gate and then turn it on and make that little move to the inside and then run the post to the flag pattern depending on which way he wants to go. And boy, he could just drop you in your track.
Brian Kelly holding for Dave Cutler on the field goal attempt. And it's good from 36 yards out. So the Edmonton Eskimos, with 6:59 remaining in the half, are on the scoreboard. They trail Winnipeg by 12. Pretty good crowd considering the weather conditions at Winnipeg Stadium this afternoon. It was snowing throughout the morning, and the snow flurries continue to fall, although with a temperature of +2 degrees. They dissolve as soon as they hit the ground. If it turns any colder, there's going to be a layer of white stuff. James Murphy, as they try that flanker screen, all down by 4 Eskimos, led by Dale Thompson. Thompson is a new addition to this Edmonton team, playing that defensive back spot in place of Durden. Statistically, in the first half, Winnipeg almost doubled the yardage of the Edmonton Eskimos. A couple of big strikes from Tom Clements to James Murphy, accounting for most of the Winnipeg passing yardage. 2nd and 12. Clements dumping it off over the middle, and grabbing it was Sean Kehoe, but he has a gain of only 3 yards, and Winnipeg will be forced to kick.
They just weren't able to handle Tom Tune. He's playing pretty well today. I mean, he's just fired up. He's a big man, and he gets rolling in this heavy ground, too, and he's tough to block.
As you can see on Tom Clements' helmet, he was buried right into the natural turf here at Winnipeg Stadium, and he's got part of the turf still stuck to his helmet.
Well, a real good defensive lineman can charge in there and make one move on that offensive lineman, change directions, and he's got him beat. Very, very difficult to block in a field like this.
Excellent kick by Cameron, and Jeff Pressman is wrapped up at the 30-yard line with 5:38 remaining. Scott Flagel was the first downfield.
Don, one thing you were just mentioning, Dale Thompson, it's his first game as far as the Edmonton Eskimos are concerned. He's playing that left safety, and if you'll notice, 2 of those touchdown passes were directed in that area. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tommy Clements was working on him a little bit and introducing him to the defense in the CFL.
First and 10 from the 31 for the Edmonton Eskimos. Brian Kelly on the sidelines makes the catch for a first down up to the 43-yard line.
Well, that's a good job by Brian Kelly at keeping those feet in bounds.
You watch Kelly coming down on the outside time after time, and he's just got the moves that just pushes those defensive backs right off the line of scrimmage. And on a field like this, he can turn out, and if the ball is there, he's going to catch it. That's good control, and I think if Johnny Evans is smart, he'll stick to that short game and stop throwing those long passes.
First and 10, the ball is at the 44-yard line. Evans completing the pass over on the far side of the field to Chris Woods. He was stopped by David Shaw. Chris Woods, number 74, has the best average gain for reception. He has 22.4 yards for every catch he has made, 37 of them coming into the game.
Well, when you have that great speed like that, sometimes you catch a 1-yard pass, turn it into a 90-yard touchdown. That's the key. And he does have the speed.
Vernon Paul into the ball game on 2nd and 2, and Frank Robinson is out. Neil Lumsden was piled up right at the line of scrimmage. He may have picked up a yard. It's going to require a measurement. 4:15 remaining here in the first half. 15-3, the Blue Bombers leading Edmonton. This afternoon, in case you missed it, 17-14 the score. The Toronto Argonauts over the Montreal Concord. And Lumsden did pick up first down yardage. Last night, of course, the Hamilton Tiger Cats wrapped up a playoff berth and at the same time eliminated the Ottawa Roughriders. And in the other game, the BC Lions moved into sole possession of first place in the West as they destroyed the Calgary Stampeders. First and 10, the ball is at the 54. Neil Lumsden, he has a pickup of 5. Aaron Brown took the feet out from under the big Edmonton fullback. Lumsden now has carried 7 times for 45 yards.
Well, what they try to do a lot of times, Winnipeg's playing a lot of zone, but when they're in man-to-man and Cowan goes in motion out of the backfield, one of those inside linebackers run out of there with them, and when they run out, then they hope to hit Lumsden inside. But when they're in the zone, they're going to both be waiting on him.
Ball is fumbled by Johnny Evans. He managed to get it back, throws it out there, and it's complete. Great catch by Tag Rome.
Tag Rome went up and caught it, but actually there was 3 blue shirts in that area, and he just shot-putted the pass out there. It wasn't a well-thrown ball at all, but fate was with him as you see him stumble, drop the ball. Look at him shot-put it out there. All kind of blue shirts around there, and it just fell right into the receiver's hands. That's the good Lord's been with him this afternoon. That's about the 3rd pass that should have been intercepted.
Now the noise you hear in the background is the wave as they've got it rolling through Winnipeg Stadium. Again, the receiver is Tag Rome, and he'll be very close to another first down with 2:52 remaining in the first half. Winnipeg in front 15-3. The time remaining. The Eskimos first and 10 from the Winnipeg 30-yard line. And at halftime, Barbara McLeod's CFL close-up will feature the executive manager of the Edmonton Eskimos, Norm Kimball. Evans throws it out there, and again the catch is made by Tag Rome. Are they ruling a catch or no? They waved it off.
Well, there it is. Let's if he catches it. No. He used the ground.
Tried to cover up, snaring the ball between his legs and turning his back to the official, but it had hit the ground first. What is David Shaw wearing? He appears to have a face mask on, a balaclava of sorts. It's not that cold, David.
He doesn't want to talk to anybody.
Second and 10 from the 30-yard line. Penalty flag, and I believe it will be procedure, or is it a time count violation?
This will be a time count, and they'll lose second down. It'll be third down for them, too.
Time count violation. Edmonton, number 8. Third down.
So it's third and 10. The ball is at the 30-yard line, and on their last possession, David Cutler kicked a 36-yard field goal. This time he'll have a chance to try from almost the same distance.
The cleanest jersey in the whole ballpark is Dave Cutler.
Yeah, the equipment men don't have to worry too much about Cutler and Trevor Kennard at the conclusion of this game as far as cleaning their jerseys is concerned.
Kennard would get a lot of it splashed up on him.
That's what I was just going to say.
A 37-yard attempt by Cutler. It's wide, and it will bounce through the end zone for a single point. It hasn't been a vintage year for Dave Cutler. He has had some problems this season. He is the all-time scoring leader, of course, in the Canadian Football League. He has kicked more field goals than anybody else, and I still think in a crucial situation, I wouldn't mind having him on my side. But this year, Cutler has hit on only 18 of 32 coming into the game, so he is now 19 of 34.
He hasn't got the opportunity to try as many as he has in past years, and I know one thing. I've seen him kick a lot of big field goals over his years.
You know, he still hits the ball with a lot of authority. It's just a matter of his accuracy this year. It seems like he's a little bit off.
2,220 points in his CFL career for David Cutler, more than any other player. Pass almost intercepted. Tony stepped in front of Rick House, and it will be second and 10 Winnipeg.
Actually, it was a good job by House of coming back and knocking the ball away from Tony, because Tony came in with perfect, you'll see, with interception position, and House just reached around him and knocked that ball out of his hands.
Good receiver.
A little further to Dave Cutler's problems. Some of it may relate to the fact that he doesn't have the same man snapping the ball and the same person holding the ball that he has grown accustomed to over the years.
That's for sure. He used to like Wilkie.
Deep for Jeff Boyd. It's picked off. The interception is made by Laurent Delorier.
Well, that's that pattern they tried to throw a while ago on the curl to Boyd. He wasn't there, so Tom's not ready to throw it. He's not open, so Tom scrambles. Now on the scramble, now Boyd turns and goes to the flag, but now as a free safety should, Delorier comes over to help, gets in position to intercept it.
I believe earlier I said that Laurent Delorier was the Edmonton nominee in the Shenley balloting for the outstanding rookie. That should have been outstanding Canadian, as the outstanding rookie nominee from the Eskimos is Stuart Hill, the linebacker.
Well, they're both good ones, that's for sure.
Nelson Jones fumbles the football, and I believe Scott Flagel has recovered.
Now, one thing that these coaches better be telling their running backs when they get them to the sidelines now is when you take that handoff and you close that line of scrimmage, get both hands on the ball. Because that's about the third or fourth fumble, and they're all as a result of somebody driving their helmet into that wet surface of the ball there, knocking it loose. So you got to hold on to it tight on a wet day like this.
The Blue Bombers keep a defensive statistic of big plays. Scott Flagel led the team with 8 coming into the game. That's what happened to be number 9. Willard Reeves fighting for about 3 yards. It's been difficult for the running backs to hang on to that football. And you see that Scott Flagel, once this season, was named the outstanding defensive player in the CFL and earned the Rothman selection as Star of the Week.
I think when you really think of Scott Flagel this year, he's made one of the big contributions to that defense because he took that all-important position that Paul Bennett had for so many years here. A lot of people were suspect of how well he's doing. He's certainly done the job.
2nd and 7. Clements throwing complete for a first down to Joe Poplawski at the 25.
Well, you can't do any better than that. Delorier was right there with him, and Poplawski just went up and pulled it away from him. That was anybody's football. It's just a matter of Poplawski going and getting it. Watch, both of them go up. Poplawski got both hands and pulled it down.
He brought it down. I got the impression that Tommy doesn't like this weather. He doesn't like throwing with that. His hands aren't that big. He's not a real big guy physically. The ball is a little bit wet. The footing is bad. And he's just not his normal self throwing the football.
Well, he's completed 11 of 16. Here's a reverse with James Murphy.
Good.
And Clements out in front through the block. But there were simply too many green and gold jerseys in pursuit. And Murphy got back to the line of scrimmage. It wasn't really a smoothly executed reverse. They almost mishandled the ball.
It looked good to begin with, though. Bastai and those people were out in front of it. It looked like they had a real chance to break. But it was just a great job by the Edmonton defensive rallying and getting up there and cutting it off and getting the inside pursuit over there to help out. Cal Murphy told us he might do a couple of things today that he hadn't done before this year. This would be a good time to start.
There's going to be a time count violation assessed against Winnipeg.
I think that you're going to find that the Winnipeg team are complaining that they wanted a dry ball, and that's the reason that they didn't take the snap.
Cal Murphy a little incensed when he saw that flag fly. Let's listen to Lorne Woods.
No penalty applied.
Well, of course, Lorne Woods had his eye on the time clock, and it had expired when Tom Clements was asking for that dry ball, or was just about to expire.
Well, that's where a veteran center really comes in handy. He knows when that ball's wet and what the quarterback likes and doesn't like. He didn't like it, so he knew Tom wouldn't like it.
Clements on the move. He'll keep. He got down to the 10-yard line for a first down. Chris Walby and John Funk were out in front to throw a block.
Well, that was a great play right at the end. He just jumped. He needed about another yard and a half, and he realized it.
There's an old quarterback, an old quarterback.
He's at least out of the league 5 years. But watch Clements now scramble. He sees the opening, and he'll cut back. And when he makes this jump in the air, he's about a yard and a half short. And he sees that stick, he just goes after it. Get through there and get down.
Don't you know that Cal Murphy's heart is in his mouth when Tommy Clements does something like that, especially at this time of the year, getting ready for the playoffs.
On first down, Jeff Boyd, the intended receiver, incomplete. Boyd protesting that he was interfered with by Lawrence Delorier and Dale Thompson.
Well, he was sure interfered with by Delorier because as he came across the middle, his jersey was grabbed and he was just pulled back.
15 seconds now remaining in the half. Winnipeg leading 15-4. It's 2nd and 10. The ball is just outside the 10-yard line. The Blue Bombers could conceivably pick up a first down without scoring, but I don't think they'd have enough time.
They have Poplawski on the outside. He tries to motion to the inside. They give it to Reed.
He'll score!
The case of a quarterback that's got a lot of experience, knowing that they're looking for the pass down there, came with the draw.
And Willard Reeves will take the football and give it to one of the handicapped spectators at this afternoon's game, as he always does.
Well, that was a key block by John Bonk. And the last defender.
The point after by Trevor Kennard. And with 11 seconds remaining, it's now a 22-4 game. And for Willard Reeves, his 18th touchdown of the season.
Tommy goes back, reverse pivots, and hands to Willard Reeves. He looks for the hole. He watched Baum come across there, made an excellent block, and so did Walby, right from his left tackle spot. Went in there and made a great block, too. Or his right tackle spot, I should say.
You know, Willard Reeves is closing in on another CFL record for most touchdowns in one year. 20 by Pat Abruzzi of the Montreal Alouettes back in 1956. Willard now leads the CFL in touchdowns with 18. He previously was tied with Mervyn Fernandez of the BC Lions. Each was 17.
Well, he runs with so much confidence now, and the Winnipeg team knows that they don't need much of a hole. Watch, it isn't a real big hole for him. He just picks it, and he gets that head of steam up straight ahead, and he just goes into the end zone. And they just have a little bit of a chemistry going. That offensive line really enjoy blocking for good running backs, and he is a good one.
And Willard Reeves has indicated that he would like to renegotiate his contract, an extension of his contract. He would like to stay with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for a few more years after his current pact expires, and I think there may be some interest on the part of the Blue Bombers to accommodate Willard Reeves.
There better be.
Chris Wood fumbles the ball. He managed to get it back. I believe it was Balkovac who pounced on that loose ball with just 5 seconds remaining. (22-4) is the score, and
there goes that ball. Just bouncing right out like nobody's business. You know, when you see that time after time that fumble, the coaches have got to, on the sidelines, get those guys over and say, get both hands on the ball, especially on kickoffs and things when you got a whole team down there covering.
And the Edmonton Eskimos appear quite content to simply run out the clock. They won't do it on just one play. It will require 2. That one used up just 3 seconds, but now they'll have no problems in running off the final 2 seconds on the clock. Johnny Evans simply drops to one knee, and that's the end of the first half, with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers going to the dressing room, leading by a score of 22-4. We've got an entertaining and interesting halftime show for you. Stay tuned right after this message.
Halftime, Winnipeg leads Edmonton 22-4. I'm Brian Williams. Welcome back to CFL Control. Let's have a look at games played this weekend. We begin with last night's game in Hamilton, where the Ticats officially eliminated the Ottawa Rough Riders, and Vic Rauter was there.
Now, this was the game Ticats owner Harold Ballard urged his fans to stay away from, calling his players overpaid bums. Still, 18,000, including Ballard himself, showed up at Iverwin Stadium.
I wanted to be the only one here, see what I felt like to own a football club and be the only customer.
And what they saw was 1 touchdown by Hamilton receiver Steve Stapler and 4 field goals by Bernie Ruoff as the Ticats eliminated Ottawa in the East, beating the Rough Riders 20-14. And after next week's final game against Montreal, many feel it may be the end of George Brancato as Ottawa head coach.
I don't make those decisions. You know, it was 14 years without missing the playoff, and you miss it 1 year. Of course, you know, there's a lot of factors into it. But, you know, it's still going to be up to the people at the top.
The final again from Ivor Wynn. Hamilton 20, Ottawa 14. Now let's check on the BC Lions and Calgary Stampeders.
All right, Vic, the story last night at McMahon Stadium, this combination, Cowan to Swervin, Mervyn Fernandez. They combined for 3 touchdowns. Cowan's second win. He has been very effective in place of the injured Roy DeWalt. BC moves into sole possession of first place. The Lions home to Winnipeg next Saturday night. Fernandez with a touchdown. Earlier today in Montreal, Toronto and the Concord tied at 7. We pick it up fourth quarter. Former Concord Lester Brown's second touchdown of the day. Toronto led 14-7. Here's the play that breaks Montreal's back. The illicit punt is taken by Jeff Patterson. He will fumble. Doug Battershill recovers, leading to the winning field goal. Montreal loses. They're still tied for second with Hamilton. Toronto, of course, had already wrapped up first place. You know, it's interesting. Bernie Ruoff said earlier this week, Hamilton, with a second-rate losing football team, had no business being in the playoffs. Stay with us. Norm Kimball's up next. The CFL 84 continues.
Grey Cup 84. The Spirits in Edmonton. Be there.
You know, it's that. So this week we've seen the personal side, Brian. Next week we get down to business.
All right, we will have more with Norm Kimball next week. And Kimball's Eskimos in all kinds of trouble in this game, although Matt Dunnigan, the injured quarterback, is not playing. They trail by 18. We'll have the first half highlights. The CFL 84 continues. Welcome back, and let's have a look at the first half highlights. It has been all Winnipeg. They lead the Eskimos by a score of 22-4. James Murphy scored his 11th and 12th touchdowns of the year. Start of the second quarter, Clements, with lots of time, goes to Murphy, his 11th. Winnipeg led it by a score of 8-0. A couple of minutes later, more good work by that Winnipeg offensive line. Clements, good protection to Murphy. 15-0 Winnipeg. Willard Reeves scored his 18th and late in the second half, or the first half, late in the second quarter, and it is Winnipeg leading 22-4 at halftime. Right now, let's take you back live to Winnipeg Stadium, and once again, here's Don Whitman.
Thank you, Brian. And statistically, in the first half, Willard Reeves picking up 69 yards. Remember, he's in search of his 8th consecutive 100-yard game, which would tie Johnny Bright's record. And Willard Reeves accounting for the bulk of the 84 yards rushing by Winnipeg. Neil Lumsden doing most of the work along the ground for the Edmonton Eskimos. Both quarterbacks have completed 11 passes, but Tom Clements has thrown 2 of them for touchdowns to James Murphy. Gentlemen, your reaction to the game?
I think the big thing, Don, as far as I'm concerned, is Johnny Evans is playing so well without much work. He's 11 for 16, and Tommy's only 11 for 17. What do you think,
They're
Ron?
just not consistent right now. Winnipeg's more consistent, and that's why they're winning.
And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers lead 22-4. We've got the second half coming up, but now back to CFL control and Brian Williams.
All right, thank you, Don Whitman, and we'll return with the second half kickoff from Winnipeg Stadium. Winnipeg leading the Edmonton Eskimos by 18 points. Stay with us as CFL 84 continues from CBC Sports.
69 yards rushing this afternoon, now has 1,654 for the season, and that leaves him 242 behind the CFL record of 1,896 yards set by Willie Burton back in 1975. Willard Reeves this afternoon attempting to equal Johnny Bright's record in 1957 of 8 consecutive 100-yard rushing games.
There's Johnny Evans, 11 for 16 for 122 yards. And that's a pretty good day for this young man. He hasn't had much playing time, and on this bad surface with the ball wet and so on, he's doing a very good job.
Kevin Nilles and Sean Kehoe are back to receive this kickoff from Dave Cutler. Start the second half. The Blue Bombers in front by a score of 22-4. Back on August 3rd, Winnipeg defeated Edmonton at Commonwealth Stadium 22-21. Kehoe lets the ball bounce. It rolls into the end zone and will result in a single point for Edmonton.
Well, that's a ball that should have been fielded, and I don't imagine that Cal Murphy is too happy about that.
So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will scrimmage first and 10 from the 35-yard line.
We talked to Cal before the game and asked him whether John Huffnagel was going to get half of this game, and he said it all depends on how things go, and Tommy's still in there, so he wants to win this game, Don, very badly.
Well, his feeling is that if they win this game, then they go into Vancouver next Saturday. A tie would be good enough for first place. If they should lose this game, they must win then if they want to grab first place in the West. James Murphy makes the catch out at the 40-yard line. That's a pickup of 5. It will be 2nd and 5 Winnipeg. Pretty good afternoon so far for James Murphy. 2 touchdowns, 5 receptions now for 100 yards.
And if they're going to give the ball to Reeves and let him run with it the second half, they ought to just split that line out, just let them occupy those defenders, and just give it to them straight ahead instead of making them cut.
So Poplawski first down at the 51-yard line.
Boy, anytime you try to cover an inside receiver like Poplawski with a linebacker, in this case is Jenkins, you've got him one-on-one. You take him upfield and break to the sideline, and a linebacker just can't adjust fast enough. He doesn't have bad coverage for a linebacker. He's not going to be much closer. That's just a good play. You throw that all day.
First and 10 from the 51. Willard Reeves. He is to the 49 of the Edmonton Eskimos. A gain of 10 yards. Stopped by James Hunter. So he now is 21 yards away from a 100-yard gain.
And I would bet as he takes the ball here on the handoff, Tommy starts to his left and hands him on a misdirection back to the right, and he just gets that yardage. But I'd guess at this point he's going to get his 100 yards.
An injured member of the Eskimos, Tony Anglin, is down. Certainly don't want to have those linebackers going down, particularly with Dan Kepley already out of the lineup. Frank Balkovec will come into the ball game to take his spot at the linebacking position.
Well, Jackie Parker's been fooling people all his life. When he was playing football with those spaghetti legs that he had, everybody thought that he never would last, and he just lasted to be one of the greatest football players to ever play in this league. And then after last season, when they rehired Jackie to coach Edmonton again, everybody thought that it was a mistake, that he wouldn't be able to do the job. But he not only did it, but he's one of the outstanding coaches in the league this year, and a lot of people think will be the coach of the year.
I'll tell you, I'm happy. I'm really happy with Jackie Parker. I think that this Edmonton football team is good. I mean, they come out and they come at you. They're not like they were 3-4 years ago where they went out on the field. I was interested in reading that story in the paper about Bill Stevenson. Just reading the story made you feel that you'd want to be a part of that football team, because he said it's fun to play football again, and that's about all you can ask, and they play like they're having fun.
Well, as somebody said, Jackie Parker's idea of a big speech in the dressing room was the bus leaves at 11:30.
That would be about right. I like yesterday at the press conference, he was asking the numbers of the new players he didn't even know. You know, he said they'll have white jerseys on.
And he's also the only coach in the league who wears yellow suspenders.
I noticed that. That was neat, huh?
And for all you guys that are fumbling, the bus leaves in 10 minutes. Be under it. And this program is copyrighted and is strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or exhibition in whole or in part without the express written consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is strictly prohibited.
Willard Reeves just shy of first down.
Play pass. He's got him.
The football. It's an incomplete pass.
Boy, Ron, that was a beautiful play pass fake. He faked to Willard Reeves off tackle on that, and Murphy just went down and ran a post pattern, and Tommy threw the ball a little bit behind him, and he had to wait a little bit. If he threw it in front of him, it would have been a sure touchdown.
I don't know why I could see it coming. The safety man, Delorier, was right up 2 yards from the line of scrimmage, and when Clements gives it, both those backs cross, and he gets a little play action. Look at the hole in the middle. There is nobody there.
See if he got it out.
Put that out in front of him.
A little bit more.
That's a good play. Let's see. Well, the safety man will come up now. They'll run it now.
Third and one.
Again.
Willard Reeves has the first down.
I'd like to see him come back with the same play. That would. Cal Murphy might not have liked it.
Tell you, if he does that play pass on first down, he's going to make a lot of yards, especially with the Edmonton team feeling that Reeves is getting close to 100 yards, and they're going to try to stop him and fake to him in there and let it go.
They're concerned over at the Edmonton bench with the left knee, it would appear, of linebacker Tony Anglin.
He
Won't be too bad. He's putting an awful lot of weight on it. That's good. Good fine.
Brian Baldock playing that linebacking position in place of Anglin. There's the screen to Willard Reeves. He's brought down at the 45, a pickup of 3. And right now they're in the very muddy part of the field. But this field is dry in comparison to a game on June the 21st, a preseason contest involving the Blue Bombers and the British Columbia Lions, when they had just a torrential downpour that delayed this game for an hour and 20 minutes. The field was absolutely flooded. As a matter of fact, when they resumed play, both teams had to go to the same side because the visiting team's bench was under about 3 feet of water. Willard Reeves again with that little swing pass for the first down as he dives to the 30-yard line.
I think he left his feet on the 35-yard line and lit about on the 29-yard line. Just a little 3 receivers out to the field, and then just swing it to the 4th one. Now, if he ever gets down there, he's got some blockers. But as you say, Leo, he just took off.
Watch it. Oh, boy. He could slide all the way into the end zone on a day like this.
Well, his plans for a post-football career, be a police officer in Flagstaff, Arizona. He's in training right now. Movement at the line of scrimmage, and there are penalty flags. John Manderitz was the man who moved across the line of scrimmage. Was it offside or procedure? It's offside. Sometimes that defensive lineman is drawn offside by the offensive lineman making an illegal move.
Offside. Edmonton 75. First down repeated.
Oh, there he goes. Can't cheat. I still don't understand that. Sometimes they blow the play dead, sometimes they don't. That time they did, so.
Sometimes the whistle don't work.
It's 1st and 5 now from the 25-yard line. Penalty flags in the play as Clements is being pursued by James Hunter. Now Clements throws it out to Rick House, and he slides out of bounds. There was a penalty flag downfield around the 18-yard line. Holding against Winnipeg.
Well, Tune showed a lot of speed, didn't he? I'll tell you what, though, was funny. When he wheeled to go back across field, one of the offensive linemen for the Bombers was coming after him, and he says, whoa. He just stopped. Clements made a great play. He didn't gain anything, but he didn't take a 15-yard loss either, which he would have taken.
Referee Lauren Woods talking to the defensive captains of the Eskimos, Dan Bass and Joe Holloman, and they're looking to the bench for some help, and are they going to waive the penalty?
Holding. Winnipeg 65. Declined. 2nd down.
They lost yardage on the play, so it will be 2nd and 10 from the 30-yard line.
Well, Tommy may reflect on that draw play that he ran so successfully to Willard Reeves and come back with it right now. It's 2nd and 10 because it's a definite passing situation. Nope, he's going to throw.
And it's complete to Poplawski. First down, Winnipeg. Penalty flag on the play as well.
You don't throw it any better than that, whether it's wet or dry or whatever. He just dropped that over the linebacker's head.
Rough play call against the Edmonton Eskimos will move the ball even closer to the goal line.
Must be pretty gratifying for Tommy Clements to know that when he throws that ball out there up in the air like that Poplawski's going to come down with it. Boy, he's got sure hands. He's caught a couple today. Very difficult.
Necessary roughness. Edmonton number 7. First down.
Dale Thompson, the new defensive back, guilty of that unnecessary roughness call. And that makes it a 1st and goal set up for Winnipeg from the 6-yard line.
Well, this would be a great place here for the play pass.
Again, movement at the line of scrimmage. Willard Reeves tackled almost immediately. No gain on the play, but let's wait to see what the penalty was. Offside again against the Edmonton Eskimos. Well, we've had a penalty on every play for the last 5 now.
Offside. Edmonton 36. First down repeated.
Well, there's a guy playing right opposite the center, and there's an old saying in football that there's some excuse for being offside, but never when you're right in front of the ball.
First and goal from the 2.5-yard line, or 3-yard line. And it's Willard Reeves fighting to about the 1.
They'll give it to him again, won't they, Ron?
I think so. Tom Tune again that time just came in underneath the block. Let's watch. What's Tom Tune? He's on the ground, just gets in between the guard and the tackle and gets that head up and makes the tackle.
Second and goal, Winnipeg. The ball is at the 2. Tom Clements keeps an easy touchdown as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers add to their lead. It's now 28-4.
That's cheating.
That's tearing a page out of an old book. A guy by the name of Russ Jackson used to do something similar to this down on the goal line. And Tommy Clements does it about as well as you can do it. He just takes to that running back in there, put the ball on his hip, and walked around there untouched. Watch it. Fake. Come right out there to the outside. Everybody is in there tackling the running back, and he just watched the end zone. Says, "Isn't that easy? Don't hit me. I'm in the end zone."
And Tom Clements right now gets a rest as Trevor Kennard adds the point after. And it's 29-5. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers leading with 8:46 remaining in the third quarter. Well, if you're planning on heading for the Grey... Well, if you're planning on heading for the Grey Cup in Edmonton in a couple of weeks' time, you're going to have a great time, I'm sure of that, because Grey Cup 1984 planners and organizers are expecting tremendous turnouts at festival events this year. And if you require any tickets and or information, you should dial the festival hotline in Edmonton, 473-9287. Of course, the entire week kicks off on Tuesday night in the Westin Hotel with the CAFA annual roast. And on the hot seat this year is the executive manager of the Edmonton Eskimos, Norm Kimball. And, of course, the Schenley Awards are part of the Grey Cup Week celebrations, the Miss Grey Cup pageant, the Schenley dinner, and the game itself. And that's the Tom Clements touchdown, and that was an easy one.
That's cheating. Nothing to it.
First and 10 for the Eskimos. The ball just nudging the 40-yard line. Johnny Evans figures if Tom Clements can do it, I'll do it too. Scott Flagel came up to hit the Edmonton quarterback, but not before he had galloped into Winnipeg territory.
Little naked bootleg, just fakes the toss and come out, and as you see, if you don't stay at home, you're going to get fooled, and he did. Watch Flagel come in right here. Just gets into him. Pretty good hit. Both of them bounce off. Both of them get up. No problem.
A gain of 18 for John Evans. What the Eskimos have done so well this year is move the football with the quarterback running, and I'm talking about Matt Dunnigan. This is Tyrone Jones grabbing Johnny Evans back at the 50. Tyrone Jones leads the Blue Bombers in quarterback sacks, and he adds to his total.
Watch Tyrone Jones come from the backside using that great speed that he has. And all of those linebackers can run like that. When they get a hole in there, that quarterback better get rid of the ball because they'll be on his back.
Second and 16, a loss of 6 as Jones brought down Evans. Evans throwing it down the sidelines. It's picked off by Donovan Rose.
Well, Donovan Rose played that extremely well. He was sitting back there watching the out, and then he just dropped off and got it.
6 weekend of regular season play. We've got a doubleheader on CBC television. We hope you'll join us on Saturday as Hamilton takes on Toronto. Then on Sunday as the Edmonton Eskimos entertain the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Then it's on to the playoffs, and on CBC television, you'll be seeing the Western semifinal, the Eastern final, and the Grey Cup game. So join us on CBC television for all the excitement of the concluding weeks of the 1984 Canadian Football League season. Willard Reeves out to the 35-yard line, a pickup of 7 yards. Willard Reeves now has 88 yards. 6:17 the time remaining here in the third quarter. 29-5, Winnipeg leads. Sean Kehoe has the first down on a counter play out to the 42.
Well, that's the first time today they've shown that to Kehoe. Both 2 or 3 other times they've run, it's been to Reeves. I think he caught him by surprise. He slipped and fell a little bit, but he did get the first down. That's all he wanted.
First and 10 Winnipeg as the Blue Bombers are now at the 42. Hand off to Willard Reeves again. And Willard Reeves gets up to the 48-yard line. Stopped there by Frank Valkovic. Add 6 more to the rushing total of Willard Reeves. He now has 94, 14 carries for the Winnipeg running back. Again, they come inside for Sean Kehoe. He breaks it into the clear. First down at the Edmonton 42.
How do I do that?
Laurent Delorier made the stop.
You see Tommy on a back handoff right there. Actually, it's a front handoff. Starts to the right and gives it to Sean Kehoe. And Kehoe looks like he can run a little bit in there. He looks like a mutter this time. The last time he slipped, but he took it in there now with pretty good balance. He got a good first down on it.
19 yards for Sean Kehoe. Pass incomplete, intended for Joe Poplawski. It will be second and 10.
Tommy's not real satisfied with himself on that one because Poplawski went down there, was uncovered, no linebacker near him, and Tommy just stood up and just misdirected the pass. Had him wide open.
Clements has hit on 17 of 25 attempts for 210 yards.
Not bad.
Pretty good day's work. I think one of Cal Murphy's concerns was to keep his team concentrating on this game and not thinking ahead to next Saturday's battle against the British Columbia Lions. Willard Reeves is down to the 35-yard line. A pickup of 8, almost 9 yards.
You know, Don, we were talking about...
And that will do it. That will put Willard Reeves over 100 yards rushing.
No, we talked about him earlier, running with confidence. When he goes up through there, he just thinks he can run right over top of the 2 linebackers when he goes right up the middle with it. Watch him.
It's the same play where Tommy just reverse pivots and goes out like he's going to run a bootleg. He just hands it to Willard, and Willard just finds the opening right in the middle.
So Willard Reeves has equaled Johnny Bright's 1957 record of 8 consecutive 100-yard games rushing. Sean Kehoe for the first down. Well, they run Willard, then give it to Sean Kehoe, and they've been moving it down the field in that fashion.
Well, one thing about Tommy Clements, Ronnie, is that when he gets something going, he'll work it until you take it away from him.
I think Cal Murphy's got to be extremely pleased with the performance. I mean, they are showing they can run the football with both backs, and that's a key factor because it's easy to stop one, but if you get both of them going, it's tough.
From the 32-yard line, Clements into the air, intended for Poplawski, incomplete. Dale Thompson came over to knock it away. It will be 2nd and 10 for Winnipeg from the 32-yard line. Leo, you talked about a quarterback, Tom Clements, coming back with the same plays, forcing the Edmonton Eskimos to stop it. I remember a quarterback over in Regina used to do the same thing. If he found a weakness, he'd exploit it until the defender stopped it. He wouldn't stop it himself. And usually it would give it to George Reed.
Well, that was the easiest one to remember. They only knew 2 plays. Give it to George and throw it to Hugh.
This one is picked off. Playing center field, Delorier comes up with his 2nd interception of the ball game. So the Edmonton Eskimos snuff out a potential Winnipeg drive with 2:13 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Well, Lawrence Delorier came up with the big interception. He now has 8 for the season. Pretty good performance by the rookie. He was acquired by the Eskimos in that deal with the BC Lions that sent James Parker to the Lions. He, along with Frank Balkovec, to Edmonton. Delorier out of the University of British Columbia, doing an outstanding job at the safety spot. Kevin Ingram now in playing quarterback for the Edmonton Eskimos. He gets Larry Cowan, and he's got some speed. There's also a penalty flag in the play. Scott Slagle brings Cowan down, but not before he had galloped to the 52-yard line.
All right, you'll see Conop here come out and lead this play. Gets the ball and follows Conop, and Conop does an excellent job of pulling and leading the play.
And that was the key block that swung Larry Cowan loose.
Edmonton 27, after yards gain, 1st down.
But there was a holding call against Marco Sincar of the Edmonton Eskimos that will bring the ball back. But that infraction occurred after first down yardage had been attained. So now it's 1st and 10 from the 25. Ingram's pass incomplete. He was looking for Brian Kelly. Rose and Aaron Brown were both defending. A reminder that coming up tonight on CBC television, the dramatic miniseries about the last days of British imperial rule in India, The Jewel in the Crown. That continues tonight, along with a special 1-hour CBC documentary, Rock, Ice, and Oil. Narrators John and Jeanette Foster look at 3 of the elements researchers have been studying in the high Arctic. The Arctic is indeed rich in minerals and oil, but the difficult part remains, how can these resources be tapped without harming the fragile Arctic ecosystem? Tyrone Jones with the interception. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will take over at the 35. Well, the Edmonton Eskimos made a quarterbacking change, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will also make a quarterbacking change following the interception as John Hufnagel comes on to replace Tom Clements.
And Tyrone Jones found out how those resources could be tapped. Intercepted one and started back. And now we go to see John Hufnagel. I'm surprised we haven't seen him sooner.
29-5 is the score. 59 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Hufnagel completes to Jeff Boyd. Boyd has a pickup of 7, maybe 8 yards. Holloman was there to make the tackle. They've gone to Boyd previously, but that's the first catch he's made this afternoon.
Well, I'm a little bit surprised John Hufnagel didn't get in there sooner to take some of the pressure off of Tommy Clements. But right now, I think that John Reeves, or Willard Reeves, I should say, he's got his 100 yards today. Let's get him out of there, and let's get somebody else in there.
Second and 2. Willard Reeves gets the call. He'll be close to the 1st down. I don't know whether he cracked the 25-yard line. That's almost where he had to go to pick up the 1st down. Marker between the 25 and the 26-yard lines. No, he did not get it. It will be 3rd and inches, but I'm sure the Bombers will be gambling. Tom Clements is going to come into the ball game on this 3rd down play. This is where you'd like to see that play action fake, wouldn't you, Ron?
29-5 would be a little tough, but it's a good place for it. They're going to have that. You're going to look and see Delorier and all those guys. They're going to be up close. They're going to be right up there.
And Tommy took a little bit of time with that call in the huddle. It'll either be a quarterback sneak or it'll be a play-action pass.
Clements is going to keep and get the first down. And that should be the final play of the third quarter. It is. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, 15 minutes away from their 11th win of the season. They lead it 29-5. Well, we're into the fourth and final quarter here at Winnipeg Stadium. Willard Reeves, the interesting story this afternoon, now 106 rushing yards, the 8th consecutive game that he has gone over the 100-yard line. The pass for Poplawski almost picked off by Thompson. So on 3rd and 6,
quarterback keys. Linebackers up close, but this man right here is the safety man, Delorier. Comes on a safety blitz. That means the middle is open. That's where Hufnagel does with the pass. They just don't hit it. But that means there's nobody in the middle to help. Just good defense. Dale Thompson there to knock it down. But that's a good key for a quarterback, and Hufnagel's been around a long time. He'll read that.
Field goal attempt by Trevor Kennard is wide. And Lawrence Delorier will concede the single point. So it's now a 30-5 ball game in favor of the Blue Bombers. Kennard this year, as that statistic indicates, hitting on 60% of his field goal attempts. Bernie Ruoff of the Hamilton Tiger Cats is the leader this year in field goal attempts and in percentage, and he had a big night against the Ottawa Rough Riders in securing a playoff position last evening for the Ticats and eliminating Ottawa from postseason activity. Kevin Ingram throwing deep for Chris Woods, and he missed it by a good 10 yards.
Well, he really threw it. It just looked like he wound up and let it go.
He was going for the fences on that one, and of course, Chris Woods has the speed to go and get under one of those throws.
You got to put some air under it, though. You got to get it up a little higher. You throw it on that line, it's pretty hard for anybody to catch up with it.
So it's 2nd and 10, Edmonton. The ball at the 35. Evan Ingram getting to see action here in this game due to the injury to Matt Dunnigan. Again, he's throwing deep, looking for Brian Kelly, but a similar situation. He overthrew him by about 10 yards.
Same problem. You've got to get it up in the air. Just line drive.
Well, this afternoon, it's a little chilly at Winnipeg Stadium, but there are over 29,000 taking in the action. And it's quite comfortable here in our broadcast position. Many of the fans have been sitting out in rain, sometimes snow. The snow has abated now, but I think a bit of drizzle continues to fall. Evans' 3rd down kick fielded by Kevin Neal as he fumbles the football. Did he get it back? Yes, I believe he did, as Vernon Paul was also there to cover up. A 37-yard kick by John Evans. 12:29 is the time remaining in the game, and it's 30-5, Winnipeg in front. .29 the time left to play here at Winnipeg Stadium as the Blue Bombers take over 1st and 10. They are at their own 43-yard line. John Hufnagel here in the 4th quarter coming on in relief of Tom Clements. Kevin Ingram replacing Edmonton starter Johnny Evans. Jerome Erdman into the lineup. He's wide left. John Hufnagel won't get a chance to throw. There is also a penalty flag Tom Tuine was the one who got through to the Winnipeg quarterback. So far, his uniform is rather clean, but if he gets dropped many more times, he'll, like the other members of the Blue Bombers, have a rather thick coating of Winnipeg Stadium mud on his uniform.
Holding. Winnipeg 63. Decline. Second down.
In case you're unfamiliar with the Winnipeg numbers, that was Chris Waldy guilty of the holding, number 63. However, with the loss in the play, the penalty is declined. Second down, Winnipeg. The Blue Bombers in front by a score of 30-5. This is Willard Reeves. He gets about 6 yards back as he gallops to the 41 before being brought down by Danny Bass. Cal Murphy, last year Coach of the Year in the Canadian Football League. His second season as head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And both of his seasons are going to be winning years, but he would like to have this one be an extra special year. He'd like to go all the way to the Grey Cup game in Edmonton. Jeff Kaplan fumbles the punt, manages to cover up, and the Eskimos will be starting out from their own 29-yard line. A 39-yard kick by Bob Cameron. No opportunity for return by Jeff Kaplan. 7:15 is the time left in the fourth quarter. You know, back earlier in the year when the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defeated the British Columbia Lions here at Winnipeg Stadium, many people were projecting then that first place might ultimately be decided in the final game of the season when the two teams met up in Vancouver on the 27th of October. That's exactly what is going to happen. They'll go into the game with identical records. First down, swing pass to Cowan. And Cowan is taken out of bounds by Scott Flagel. And Cowan may have pulled a hamstring.
We don't want to see that at this stage of the season, especially with Larry Cowan. He's had a good year for them, but I think he did. See that linebacker, you can see who it is. Fowler, I believe, coming on a blitz. They bring that tackle out in front and just swing the back, drop the ball off to Cowan and let him run. And
watch when he gets turned right there. Somebody grabs him and swings him around, and his leg gives way on that turf. See him come around here now, and a defender will come up and grab a hold of as he changes directions right there. It looked like he may have pulled it a little bit even before he got the defender out. Yeah, I think he does. I think he pulled it on his own cut even before he made contact with the defender. Oh. He shifts the ball right there. I think when he tried to get away from the... Well, you really can't tell, but it looked like, you know right there that he'd pull a hamstring, and he's being helped off the field, which isn't a good sign.
Cowan with a 15-yard run. And he's done some good work this year for the Edmonton Eskimos, and that would be a blow if they were to lose him as they prepare for their final game of the season and the Western semifinal against either the Winnipeg Blue Bombers or the British Columbia Lions. Jackie Parker, a little concerned already about the health of his quarterback, Matt Dunnigan. Although, has this game been one that could have affected the overall standings as far as the Eskimos are concerned? There are some who believe that Dunnigan might have been able to play. Milton Jones gets into Winnipeg territory with a first down, brought down by Scott Flagel.
Milton Jones has got a little bit more speed than people give him credit for having. He hit up in there on the line, didn't see anything, and then just went right down the line of scrimmage to the outside and outran the defenders, and he's outrunning some guys that can really move.
Chris Skinner has taken Larry Cowan's spot in that Edmonton backfield. It's 1st and 10 from just inside the midfield stripe. 30-5, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers leading. intended for Brian Kelly, incomplete. He trapped it. And it will be 2nd and 10 with 9:55 remaining. In the event that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the BC Lions should wind up in a tie next Saturday night, Winnipeg would be awarded the Western Conference pennant on the basis of their 25-3 victory over the BC Lions back in July 22nd here at Winnipeg Stadium. So for the BC Lions to finish first, they must win the ball game. The Blue Bombers will finish first with the tie. The draw play with Milton Jones. Close to a first down, about 1.5 yards short. Stopped by Stan McCullough. Willard Reeves, who still has an opportunity to break a couple of records in the CFL. Most touchdowns in one season and most total yards rushing in one season. 3rd and 1.5 yards for the Edmonton Eskimos. The ball is at the 46.5. Neil Lumsden gets the first down as he is inside the 45. All the Eskimo scoring this afternoon has been produced by Dave Cutler. A field goal, a missed field goal attempt, and a single on the kickoff.
You'll see Millicent Jones come right in here and lead Neil Lumsden. Ball is handed off to Neil, and he just finds anything that he can, and they wedge block it right in here. Not much room in there, but Neil with that 220 pounds makes the room.
Pass intended for Kelly, incomplete. David Shaw came very close to making an interception on the deflection.
I'll tell you another thing, that's what receivers don't like. That is a dangerous area to throw the football. Every quarterback throws it, but Kelly goes down and takes that slant to the inside. If that ball's not on the way at the break, Scott Flagel is going to arrive at the same time the ball does, and there's going to be one heck of a collision.
2nd and 10 from the 43 of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers with 8:01 remaining in the game. It's Winnipeg 30, Edmonton 5. Ingram fakes the pitch. Fires complete to Brian Kelly, and Kelly was throwing back, but he had first down yardage inside the Winnipeg 30.
I'll tell you one thing, Ingram has a lot to learn as a quarterback, but one thing he has is a strong arm. Watch him now to make it bootleg. He has no help, but he's got nowhere to go either. He stopped it. Watch, flat-footed. Watch him throw that ball. That's a strong arm.
Particularly when you've got Albert Fowler hanging on to you.
That's hard to do without him hanging on you.
Brian Kelly with 16 touchdowns on the season. The leader in touchdowns on passes this year is Mervyn Fernandez with 17. Chris Skinner, the ball carrier, working to the 25-yard line.
All right, watch him. Reverse pivot and handoff here. Pache comes across, makes a good block here, and he comes right on through. Good-looking play.
Second and 7. Chris Woods was underthrown as the ball bounced in front of him, so it will be 3rd and 7 for the Eskimos with 6:37 remaining in the game. Winnipeg leading 30-5.
One of the real dangers on a wet field is just what happened to Cowan. You can get a pull muscle when the ground gives way underneath you, and you got to be very careful. That's why a guy like Willard Reeves, that's played so much this afternoon, get him out of there and give him a rest.
Well, they're gambling on 3rd down, and why not? They trail by a score of 30-5. Back, Kevin Ingram. They'll have to get rid of this one in a hurry. He won't get a chance. Tony Norman got through. Big speed from his defensive end position to drop the Edmonton quarterback with 6:12 remaining in the game. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers will take over. the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have been very potent offensively this season. The 30 points they have picked up so far in this game runs their total for the season to 520 points.
Watch Tony Norman, number 55. Ingram goes back. He can't find him. 55 there, flattens out on the dives and makes that play. And that's the thing that makes Winnipeg such a great football team. Everybody on that defensive unit can run.
Off to Willard Reeves. He was driven back. He was, or I should say Sean Keogh, he was driven back by about 3 Edmonton defenders. Tony Norman saying hello to the family. It's the price of a phone call.
Iowa State University. Used to have a football team there they called the Dirty 30. I think that was before Tony's time.
That was before my time.
Nothing was before your time.
Hopnagle looking for James Murphy, incomplete. So with 5:15 remaining in the game, the Winnipeg Football Club sends out its punting unit. James Murphy has already done his job for the afternoon. 2 touchdowns in the first half. And that's about all the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are required. Actually, as the scoreboard stands right now, 1 would have been sufficient. Penalty flag on the play as Cameron kicks on 3rd down to Chris Woods, and Woods is down immediately at the 37-yard line. Illegal substitution against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. There appeared to be some confusion as they sent in that punting unit. Are the Eskimos going to take the ball at the 36, or are they going to ask Winnipeg to kick it again?
I think they should be satisfied with the field position and take it right there.
That's what they're going to do. Here comes the offense on the field. This happens a lot of times when the score like 30-5. They're going to get a lot of guys in playing, and that disrupts it.
Winnipeg declined.
They had too many men on the field. That's why he had time to block. He had time to kick that. A good block. But no, that happens. You start changing people around, making sure everybody's spelling each other off. This time 2 people line up the same place. But that, as you say, Leo, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that field position. Get the ball and get something going. Ingram needs to play.
You know, I talked earlier about Winnipeg having already picked up 520 points this year, the CFL single-season record for most points by a team, 576 by Edmonton in 1981. They broke their own record that they had established prior to that. Chris Skinner, the ball carrier, with a gain of 7, maybe 8 yards.
Frank Robinson went from his inside linebacker position out there and just overran it. Just got going in one direction and couldn't stop. Out of what feel like this, you've got to keep that ball carrier a little bit ahead of you and be in a position for the cutback. And he just got ahead of the ball carrier, and the ball carrier cut back beyond him, and there was no way he could stop.
Again, Winnipeg almost got trapped with too many players out there. As Ron said, they're making substitutions, and there appears to be just a little bit of confusion as to which players are supposed to be where. Neil Lumsden picks up the first down with 3:45 remaining in the game.
A guy that I was interested to see get in there for Winnipeg, especially that offensive tackle spot, was Paul Palma. The guy we talked about, Ron, that they got from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Now, I don't know how they talked Hamilton out of him. He's 6'3", 270 pounds, and was a regular for Hamilton last year. Should be a great player for Winnipeg in the future.
He's played a great guard. He's got in a little bit of guard.
Ingram again throwing deep, and it's incomplete. Donovan Rose trying for the interception. The throw intended for Chris Woods.
Donovan Rose kind of miscalculated on that and waited for the football, and he's lucky that Woods didn't take it away from him. He waited a little bit too long. He should have gone up to the ball a little bit more.
You mentioned that Paul Palma has seen some action this afternoon. Richard Nemeth has also been playing in there in place of the injured Lyle Bauer at that tackle position. That's an interesting story out of the University of Western Ontario. Nemeth came to the Bombers as a slot back. Here he is playing tackle.
Boy, I like those guys.
Ingram is dropped right at the line of scrimmage by Aaron Brown.
Boy, Aaron Brown's had a good game, and he ought to get some consideration for our Carling O'Keefe Game Star.
2:50 is the time remaining here at Winnipeg Stadium. The Eskimos in a punting situation with Johnny Evans standing at his own 33-yard line. Winnipeg 30, Edmonton 5. And the Eskimos asking for a clean football for this third down punt. Problem might be finding one. Finally, they get a clean football into play. High snap for Johnny Evans. Managed to get the kick away, and Kevin Nealon takes it and returns it to the 33. That was a 40-yard kick by John Evans. Well, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers thinking ahead to that game on Saturday against the British Columbia Lions that will determine first place in the Western Conference. Back in July 22nd, Winnipeg totally shut down the BC Lions by a score of 25-3. You know, a lot of people thought that the BC Lions' chances of finishing first may have disappeared in that game against the Toronto Argonauts when Roy DeWalt was injured for the year, but Tim Cowan got a starting assignment against the Ottawa Rough Riders last week, looked good, threw 4 touchdown passes to Mervyn Fernandez, came back and fired 3 more to Fernandez last night. And he has looked very good. He doesn't have the experience of Roy DeWalt, but has been a poised and confident quarterback.
Well, you have to remember, he came from the University of Washington. That's where Warren Moon played his college ball. They do throw the football down there, so he's got a good understanding of the passing game. And he looked awful sharp last night. In each game, he should improve. And if he looks any better, he won't have any incompletions. He's 11 for 12 in the second half. That's not bad.
Pretty good performance. Rick House is on the receiving end of that throw for 17 yards. Hopnagel first and 10 from the 50. The pitch to Willard Reed. And Reed runs out of bounds. Runs right into the retaining wall in front of the west side stands at Winnipeg Stadium.
Well, Cal Murphy was saying before the game when we were in there talking to him that he doesn't have any reserve strength at that running back position. But if he does have some, he ought to head it in there this afternoon. I haven't seen Kamner in there very much, and they've got to be able to look at some other running backs in there, but just in the event that Willard Reeves should get a turned ankle or something.
Willard Reeves on the season now with 1,701 yards. Hopnagel going deep for James Murphy. Incomplete. He was being covered back there by Darrell Hall. Well, Darrell Hall certainly used his track experience and the speed he had as a sprinter to cover James Murphy on that one.
Yeah, he got beat pretty badly earlier in the football game on man coverage by him, and this time he had no help in the middle again, but as you say, he made up a lot of time when the ball was in the air, and in his jumping ability, he got a hand on it.
So with 2:14 remaining in the game, the Blue Bombers are punting from their own 40-yard line. Bomber record will improve to 11-3-1, and that one very close to being blocked. Frank Bakovic almost got to it. Chris Woods on the return. There's a penalty flag. Almost certainly no yards will be assessed against Winnipeg. Referee Lauren Woods preparing to march off this yardage against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and he'll also inform us as to who the culprit was.
No yards. Winnipeg 37. First down.
Frank Robinson was the player who had encroached upon that 5-yard area. So it's 1st and 10 for Edmonton from the 43. Ingram fires it over the middle to Rome, and he's got a first down, Edmonton. Tyrone Jones is there to make the tackle. Tag Rome was a late cut of the San Diego Chargers, and he has shown that he could certainly help this Edmonton Football Club with his performance this afternoon.
Well, they said he had great concentration. They felt that if they would have been able to sign him before the season, he would have made the football club, so they're awful happy to get hold of him. And if he was in San Diego's camp, they throw the ball enough where he got enough work.
Milton Jones on the draw play, and Milton Jones finding some daylight and a big gallop down to the Winnipeg 22. Stopped there by Scott Slagle.
I think that's been the most successful play for both teams all afternoon. It's just that draw play off the drop back pass.
A 29-yard run for Milton Jones and a first down at the Winnipeg 22. So far, the Eskimos have not been able to cross the Winnipeg goal line. 1:21 remaining. Dave Cutler accounting for all the points. Brian Kelly takes the pass, but there's a penalty flag. And is it going to go against Winnipeg or against Edmonton? It could be a rough play call on Ty Jones, who's going after quarterback Ingram.
Yeah, come from the backside. The ball was gone, and then Ty Jones continued through. He may have let up a little bit, but he still hit him. And that referee standing right there to protect that quarterback.
Well, John Bronk is saying hello to just about everybody watching back in Burlington, Ontario. His mother's a rather excited football
Major
fan.
foul. Roughing the passer. Winnipeg 35.
That was the call. Tyrone Jones roughing the passer.
Well, looks like Ingram's getting himself warmed up a little bit. He had a kind of a shaky start. Didn't throw the ball very well at all, but he's settling down now and looks like he's moving the team pretty well.
So it's 1st and goal. The ball is at the 4-yard line. Neil Lumsden. He fumbles the football, or did he fumble it or hang on? No, he managed to hang on and then was driven back.
He ran into everybody and their brother over there waiting on him. He went in there hard and came back just as fast.
Well, that thing that you saw flying wasn't the ball, it was his body.
I should explain, I talked about John Bonk's mother, an excited football fan. He says whenever she used to come and watch him play in Hamilton, if they were losing, she'd always leave the stadium and go out and walk around the stadium a few times. Couldn't bear to watch when any team John was playing for was losing. Ingram keeping, touchdown.
Well, he did the same thing that Tommy Clemens did. He faked the off tackle play and kept the ball himself, got to the outside. The cornerback came up and the safety was on the inside, and he split both up and one in the end zone. See the fake right here, Ron?
Well, he comes from East Carolina. They've been known to run the ball quite a bit. They were a wishbone team for a while, and then they went to another type of offense, but it's a quarterback running more than throwing, and Ingram was probably felt very much at home.
And who else came from East Carolina on the Edmonton Eskimo team?
Chris Woods. No, he's from Auburn. Who else?
Dan Kepley.
That's right.
Kepley played for...
How soon you forget, huh? When he's not here, you forget him.
The Eskimos going for the two-point conversion. 30-11 the score.
Oh.
Throwing into the end zone. Incomplete.
That was a hoper.
Chris Woods, the intended receiver. I think he was trying to bootleg to the left.
He had nowhere to go. They were waiting on him when he turned the corner. He just turned around and threw it as far as he could. Just didn't hit it.
Well, Kevin Ingram hasn't had many opportunities to play a game of professional football. He's trying to make the most of this chance because it will probably be his last one for the 1984 season. Unless, of course, Matt Dunnigan is unable to suit up for next week's final game against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, I know that if there's any way possible for Dunnigan to play, he'll be in there. You have to play as a quarterback to stay sharp. He's missing today, but if he's got to get back and ready to go next week if he's going to be ready for the playoffs. You don't want to lay off now.
I got to a kick out of Cal Murphy in the press conference yesterday. They were asking him what he would do if he had Dunnigan. He said, well, he's got to stay in there and play, so I'd play him tomorrow. He was hoping he'd play, so maybe he could hurt that ankle a little bit more so he would be ready for the playoffs.
Do you think Cal would do that?
No, Cal would do it in a New York second.
Cal doesn't want to play Edmonton in the playoffs, though, unless it's on November 11th.
Just in case.
Well, Kevin Nealis and Willard Reeves are back for this Edmonton kickoff with 44 seconds remaining. The Cutler will kick it short. He's got Big Dan Runge over there. Who's got the ball? Winnipeg has recovered. Scott Flagel went up and got that ball.
That's a great catch. You got Runge coming in there at 6'9". You know, that's a jump ball, and Flagel went up and got it.
Oh, it was a well-directed ball. Good
nice kick.
Good job there kicking off. The C lunge.
Well, Flagel was a high jumper and quite a track star in high school. He's a Winnipeg product. And one of the reasons he was initially signed by the Blue Bombers was because of his great all-round athletic skill.
Well, he shows it. I tell you, man, he likes contact. You have to if you're going to play defense.
Incomplete, intended for Rick House. It will be 2nd and 10 with 39 seconds remaining. Winnipeg 30, Edmonton 11. The Eskimos will finish in 3rd place. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers will be 2nd or 1st, depending on the outcome of next Saturday's game against the British Columbia Lions under the dome at the stadium at BC Place, and that one, I understand, is a sellout.
It will be noisy.
Nagel throwing incomplete, looking down the sidelines for Jerome Erdman. So with 34 seconds remaining in the game, the Blue Bombers send out the punting unit. Another game this afternoon in the Canadian Football League. The Toronto Argonauts defeating the Montreal Concord by a score of 17-14. So 2nd place is still up for grabs in the Eastern Conference involving Montreal and Hamilton.
Here they all come.
Penalty flag. They almost got it, but Cameron was decked in the process, so a roughing the kicker call will bring it back.
Well, in a case like that, you throw care to the wind and just go for broke. You try everything toward the end of the ball game. They got Runge in there and tried to kick the onside kick to him. They went all out that time and tried to block the kick. Why not?
So with the contacting the kicker call, that will be an automatic 1st down for the Blue Bombers.
Contacting the kicker. Edmonton number 30. 1st down.
Well, look at them coming. There's a lot of Eskimos coming up. It's amazing they didn't get any part of the football.
Well, the ruling is that you can't make contact with that kicker while his foot is off the ground. And he was in full flight with his foot when he was contacted.
Seconds showing on the clock. Hand off to Pat Cantner, and he pulls his way into the 43. Pick up at 5 yards. It will be 2nd and 5. The final weekend of the CFL schedule has Hamilton at Toronto. That game to be seen on the CBC National Network beginning at 1:30 at Eastern Daylight Time. And Winnipeg is at British Columbia on Saturday night. On Sunday afternoon, Montreal is at Ottawa, and Saskatchewan closes out the schedule at Edmonton. Then it's on to the playoffs. The Eastern semifinal and the Western semifinal on November 4th, the final on November 11th, and the Grey Cup game on November 18th. And, of course, you'll see all the excitement of the playoff activity in the Grey Cup game on CBC television. And that is the football game here at Winnipeg Stadium as the Blue Bombers defeat the Eskimos by a score of 30-11. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers remain tied for first place in the West with the British Columbia Lions. because 1 second still shows on the scoreboard clock. And I believe they are going to... Well, I think they're just going to, with all the players out on the field, indicate that that is the end of the game. The gun that went off is a cannon in the Winnipeg end zone that signaled touchdowns here at Winnipeg Stadium. That was not the gun down in the sidelines that was fired, and that led to some of the confusion. But with just 1 second remaining, and Winnipeg certainly capable of running off that final second, there was no need to call the players back out for one more play.
I don't think it would have had much to do with the outcome.
That cannon's had a real workout this year in Winnipeg.
Well, the Blue Bombers have scored a lot of points this season, 520 points, and they have had an undefeated season here at home. The Blue Bombers like playing on the natural turf, and Cal Murphy, you've got to go to the artificial turf and the Dome next weekend, next Saturday night at BC, and this Western Conference race, as many predicted earlier in the year, coming down to that final game.
Yeah, it sure is, and we're going to have to play awfully good football to beat BC. And, you know, last night they were awfully impressive on TV, as you know.
Cal, back in when you guys beat BC here early in the season, ever since then it's been talked about this game at BC Place. Did you really think at that time it would come down to that game?
Not really. I thought somewhere along the line one of us might lose a game or something and fall a little bit behind. But you know, even when we lost to Saskatchewan on Labor Day, I still thought that we might be able to come back, but I was getting a little bit worried then.
Cal, that fellow holding the umbrella behind you, that isn't a new secret weapon, is it?
Cal, are you going to practice with a lot of noise? It's going to be awful noisy in that dome next week. You going to use any music or anything in practice?
I don't know. I've given it a little bit of thought. Well, I'm not quite sure exactly if you can duplicate it. They're going to let the animals out of the zoo, I guess, for next Saturday night.
That's one of the problems under the dome, though, is the noise. What about depth perception? There are some teams that seem to feel going into the dome there is a problem with perception.
Oh, there might be a little bit of that. I don't know. I can't say that it was a factor last year when we played in there. I don't sure, you know, the one-ball game we played in there when they kicked us, but good. I don't know if it was depth perception or just how well they played. They played awfully well, and then when we played in there in the final, you know, it was just one of those, they have to just get more points than we did, really.
Cal, I noticed that you got the ball in there to James Murphy on the inside, on that inside safety position where Dale Thompson is playing. He was in his first game today. Did you work on him a little bit?
No, not really. What we were trying to do was they were giving us certain things on their coverage with our formations and so forth, and we felt we could do some things by getting into a different formation.
Okay, Cal Murphy, congratulations on your victory this afternoon, 30-11 over the Edmonton Eskimos, and of course the Winnipeg Blue Bombers take on the BC Lions Saturday night in a showdown for first place in the West. We'll have our Carling O'Keefe Game Stars after this.
And now, let's meet the outstanding players in today's game and winners of the portable Citizen TV. The Carling O'Keefe Sports Game Stars.
And Willard Reeves and Aaron Brown are our choices in this game. Willard, what are you going to do with all these television sets? You've got one for every room and then some now.
Well, this one goes to Chris Walby, the offensive tackle.
Oh, is that what you do with some of the sets? Give them away to your linemen?
Yeah, I gave all my TVs to the offensive line so far. Got to win one more, I think. Yeah, I do. I got to win one more.
Willard, congratulations on equaling Johnny Bright's record of 8 consecutive 100-yard games.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to take a look at a couple of plays and describe them for us as you went over the 100-yard mark?
Okay.
The first is the touchdown run.
Okay, this right here is a simple 80 draw we had, and I just read the nose tackle and just go right off that block by Morris, and just go right on the end zone.
He must be the guy who hasn't got the TV set. And Willard, then you went over 100 yards with this run. Were you aware of it?
No, I wasn't. Okay, this is the same play. It's an 80 draw, and I just read the center's block and just go, just look for daylight.
Willard, is there any fear on your part on a rainy field like it was today that you may pull a muscle?
No, not really. As a matter of fact, I think it's real good to run on a rainy field because you have less injuries really on a field that's really wet.
Ask Aaron. Aaron Brown, what are you going to do with all your TVs? Last time we were here, you got one.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll be for Christmas gifts. That way they'll save on a little money later on in the year.
It seemed like you were in control defensively all day. Did it feel that way on the field?
Yeah, we felt good. We knew Matt wasn't going to play, and, you know, that was kind of a plus because he's definitely a scrambling quarterback. But we also realized that Johnny Evans is a tough quarterback. He's a veteran quarterback. He's been around for some time. And, you know, we had that week off, and it really helped us out. We kind of were refreshing, and we felt good. The weather was a little cold out here, but all in all, I thought offensively and defensively we played well today.
Aaron, they always say that the offensive guy's got the advantage because he knows where he's going, and the defender has to make an allowance for that on a wet field. How do you feel about that? Do you like playing on a wet field?
It doesn't really bother me. I enjoy playing on the natural grass. I think this is football weather, and this is the way it should be played. You know, on the natural grass, I think the field conditions here weren't that bad. We adjusted with our cleats, and as a matter of fact, we didn't see much slippage today because of I thought the ground crew has taken fairly good care of the fields this year for us.
Well, now you've got the artificial turf, all the noise under the dome at the stadium next Saturday night. Looking forward to that one?
That'll be fun. I'll tell you one thing, it won't be as cold as it is out here, so I know both teams will be fired up, and it should be a great game for the Canadian Football League, and it'll be a good one to battle for the Western Conference Final.
All right, Aaron Brown, congratulations on being chosen our Carling O'Keefe Defensive Game Star. Willard Reeves with a record-equaling performance this afternoon, our Carling O'Keefe Offensive Game Stars. And that's the way a lot of people would like to see it. The final game of the season determining first place.
I'll tell you, there's two real good football teams. I know Donnie Matthews was watching this game this afternoon, and he's like I am, saying that this Winnipeg team's got a lot of guns. They're going to be hard to stop.
That's what I agree with you, Don. I wish all the playoff spots could be decided the last day of the season. That's perfect.
It would make an ideal situation in the Canadian Football League. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers this afternoon moving back into that tie for first place in the Western Conference with the British Columbia Lions. The teams now each at 11-3-1 with 1 weekend remaining. The executive producer of CFL football on CBC television is Bob Moyer. Today's game was produced by Hugh Carruthers and directed by Ron Harrison. Our isolation director, Grant Haywood. And the other members of our CBC production and technical crew who help make our coverage of the CFL possible. The final score this afternoon, Winnipeg 30, Edmonton 11. Now, stay tuned for Pushing the Limits. Today, windsurfing, riding on the wind.
All right, thank you, Don. There was one other game played today in the Canadian Football League in Montreal. The Argonauts defeated the Concorde. Argos had already wrapped up first. Montreal, though, still tied with Hamilton for second. Hamilton last night officially eliminated Ottawa. Speaking of Hamilton, we'll have them next Saturday against Toronto. And then 1 week from today, we will be at Commonwealth Stadium for Saskatchewan and the Eskimos. That's it for today. I'm Brian Williams. Good night, everyone, from CBC Television Sports.